Alright, hi there. Recording with the headset on because I noticed that my videos always tend to have some choppy audio, and I got this sucker here, and so I'm going to record with it on because, well, I want to get used to it. Um, I've got a lot of stuff on my mind lately, and stuff that's, for the most part, really just generally pissing me off. So, we're going to, jump right into this. Starting with movies, we're going to, oh boy, we're going to start with Iron Man 3. I'm going to just lay this flat out. I really, really don't like Shane Black. I don't. Okay? Now, let me establish why. Aside from the fact that, his movie felt very odd, very awkward, very, try hard in terms of, merging comedy. The fact that he's got Tony doing something that is very un-Tony and basically just charging into a place with a machine gun. All this good stuff. It bothers me. A few things that he felt were necessary. See, here's the thing. When you are adapting someone else's work, when you are adapting the work of another person or of a company, you'd think, especially when it's an established character, you'd stick for the most part, to things about that character that are well established. And you'd also think that you'd kind of follow what you've been doing in your own movies for a while, but Marvel kind of threw that out the window. And what bugs me about it is, okay, the Mandarin. Now, from movie one, Favreau actually set up the Mandarin with that terrorist cell, the 10 rings. Now, see, that right there was an indication that we were not getting, comic Mandarin. I was okay with that. Okay? I had accepted this is a different universe, this is something else. I just really hope we get to see him one day because he's Tony's pretty much his arch enemy. He's like his Joker, his Green Goblin, his Doctor Doom, And, well, actually, Doctor Doom is everyone's Doctor Doom because, well, he's Doctor Doom. But, he's his arch foe, okay? And, so I really wanted to see him on screen. I also kind of had hoped to see Tony's cockiness, and his cocky nature and everything kind of come back to bite him in the ass, because that is something that we hadn't even really seen. Even in the Avengers, he kind of sort of gets handed a way out. And, well, okay, I expected a match between the two on screen, okay? That's really all I wanted. I think that's really all most of us wanted. We had accepted that, he probably wasn't going to have, actual 10 rings of power. They were probably going to be more symbolic. They were going to be, the terrorist cell itself had been called the 10 rings. And then when we see the Mandarin, in all these previews and being teased, and, and it's like, they're setting up this big old fight and everything, and it's like, oh yeah, we're going to see. We got that. The Mandarin that we see in the trailers, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen this, as if there are any of you left. The Mandarin we see in the trailers turns out to just be an actor. No, I mean, like, in movie, an actor. He was just doing that because he was paid to, and the actual Mandarin is friggin' Aldrich Killian, who, in the comics even, oh my god, he's, like, so insignificant, okay? Beyond, he's, like, important, I think, to the Extremis arc, and I think he's even dead at the end of that, so I'm not sure if that's even remotely important at all, okay? But, he turns out to basically be the real Mandarin. Oh, and he breathes fire, but it's not because of anything he actually has or any alien technology or mystic power or anything like that. It's because apparently that's just a side effect of Extremis. Yes, they really wonked with Extremis too. But, and you find out in the very beginning of the movie that he was this kind of, geeky, down on his luck, really timid employee that put the idea forward to Stark, who kind of BS to him about it and lied about it and, blew him off. And in the end, it turns out that he's just a disgruntled employee who wants to make a statement about corporations, how they're the real evil in our midst, and the media just distracts us from it with all these terrorists and whatnot. Meanwhile, apparently all these actual terrorist strikes that, or what, are being reported as terrorist strikes, have absolutely nothing to do with corporations and actually everything to do with his extremist project going wrong. So I have no idea how that even makes sense. But getting back to the core of it, the fact of the matter is, Shane Black, and he admitted in interviews, and so did Kevin Feige, that this was his idea. This was Shane Black. This was all Shane Black. Shane Black, who, by the way, also wanted to create a subplot where Pepper basically cheats on Tony with Killian, and Killian records it and has a sex tape, and he blackmails her with that. And, she doesn't want Tony to find out, and yeah. Anyways, whether or not she's drunk, or whether or not he roofied her, or whether or not, I don't know, but it was a sex tape subplot, and thankfully that was gone after the first draft, but that was also something he really wanted. Yeah, but the whole fact that he just took and altered a character, not even for the sake of making it a good plot twist, it's not, because this is not the same Mandarin we've seen, his motivations are not the same as the Mandarin's, and don't even get me started on that whole racist caricature BS. If you read Enter the Mandarin, which was basically a revamped telling of the Mandarin's first appearance, the man cultivated an image around himself based on ancient China, okay? The whole mysticism thing, the whole longevity thing, the whole all that, it was all alien tech that was actually doing it, but it was the image he cultivated around himself. It's not a racist caricature. It's not saying, oh my, beware the yellow Chinese, they all look like this. No, because everybody knew they didn't look like that. They had their uniforms, they had their, but anyways, it's not the point. The point is, especially in the more recent incarnations, there's absolutely nothing racist or caricatured about him, and he is a very formidable, very dangerous foe. In fact, possibly Tony's most dangerous and formidable foe, period. And, I wanted to see that, but instead I get a disgruntled employee who's whining about corporations, and you find out that the whole reason he did it was to try to be socially relevant. He didn't want to tell the story that was in the comics. He wanted to tell a story that he felt was socially relevant, and so he took stuff from the comics that he knew was popular, and he twisted it, and snapped it, and broke it as necessary to fit his statement of social relevance. That is the problem I have with what they did with Mandarin and Iron Man 3. Okay? Major problem. The movie overall, whatever, but that kills the movie for me. It really does. The lack of respect kills it for me. It really does. The fact that Feige and Shane Black are both kind of poo-pooing the comic fans, saying, well, in the end, it worked. And it really kind of sickens me. I mean, the main reason this movie did as insanely well as it did is because it's working off the Avengers bump. And, of course, so will, Thor gonna have a big Avengers bump. Captain America gonna have a big Avengers bump. Let's face it, nothing else superhero related is even gonna come close to touching Marvel at this point. Even Man of Steel, I'm sorry, probably isn't gonna break anywhere near close to $1 billion. Alright, anywhere near. I can see it maybe hitting the 800 million mark if it does really well, but that's iffy. I'm sorry. It just is. I'm being a realist. I don't think it's going to be a bad movie. I just don't think that it's going to have the hype that these movies have post-Avengers. Okay? But that being said, this movie did as well as it did because of that post-Avengers bump, but Marvel's not going to see that, and that's what terrifies me. Marvel's not going to see that it did this well because of the Avengers. They're not going to keep that context in mind. They're not going to take into account the negativity surrounding what they did with the Mandarin and to keep that in mind and, decide, well, maybe we should, be a little more careful about doing that in the future. No. They're, in fact, going to see that, hey, we did this and it worked. Let's start doing this in our other movies and see if it pays off as massively over the top as this. And even if it doesn't, we're probably still going to make at least 500 mil off the thing because Avengers. So that's what's terrifying me. I think Marvel is going to start screwing with stuff just because of, seeing that one of their most profitable movies ever did it. Ugh. But, that's only that. We got a lot more to go, and we're 7 minutes in. Oh boy, this is gonna be a multi-parter. Moving on to movies. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, first and foremost, one of the channels I'm on, Deconstructive Critics, posted some news. There's been a rumor that Sony was considering selling the rights of Spider-Man back to Marvel. They were also considering selling the Resident Evil franchise. And I know a lot of people said that common sense would dictate that's not the case, but actually when you analyze it and you consider everything going on with Sony right now and the kind of risk that they're taking some very big risks financially. You can kind of see where they might want to sell off something big to kind of, cushion themselves in case of, like the PS4 is coming out soon and, there is a chance sales might or might not take off for that, so, you want a cushion for that. Or even if they do take off, you can pour some of that money, into developing for it, keeping the momentum. So, and there's other factors too. They put out, some smaller movies this year that were kind of flops. They had blockbuster success, sure, but when your blockbusters do great, but, you produce about 30 other movies and they all kind of, then, it might not have been the best year for you. So there were things that kind of warranted it. It was one of those things where I don't want to, I don't want to believe it. I don't think it's necessarily true, but I don't want to completely discount it either. But, just got confirmation that they talked to one of the studio heads at Sony, and they emphatically, completely, totally denied it. Said that it's utterly ridiculous, and they have no idea where that came from. Spider-Man's there to stay. Now, there's a couple things that I want to address due to the backlash of this, because there was so much hype going into it, and then there was suddenly so much backlash when they pulled out of it, supposedly, for lack of a better term, when the rumor died. Let's start with the fact that, first and foremost, I really don't know why everyone wants the rights to go back to Marvel at this point. I don't. I just don't. Would it be nice to see Spider-Man in the Avengers? Sure, but that can be done without the rights going back to Marvel. It can. It's possible. It's very possible. But more than that, why does everyone keep saying only Marvel can ever do a good Spider-Man movie? Have you seen what Marvel's been doing with Spider-Man lately? His 50th anniversary year, no less, okay? 50th anniversary year. They use him, his big 50th anniversary event is using him to prop up Miles Morales, who, they killed him to bring in that universe. Then at the end, by the end of the year, he's dead in the mainstream universe. Yeah, dead, gone. He's replaced with friggin' Otto Octavius, and he's not even in the mind anymore. Oh my God, they did, oh God, as bad as 700 was, what they did to him in SSM 9, oh my God. It was downright cruel, and I mean cruel, okay? There was no reason to do that, at all. They did it again for controversy. That's what Dan Slott sells on, controversy, shock value. And these are the people that you want, the people who canceled the series that you guys all loved in favor of the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, where Spidey's nothing but a gag character similar to a PG Deadpool. These are the people that you think need to be handling a Spider-Man movie. Really. These are the people who you want messing around with Spider-Man. Really. My God.